Hugh was an Arctic explorer. In 1553, he gathered a crew and set sail on his ships. One ship was under his control, while the other was under his second-in-command's control. His goal was to search for a sea route from Europe to China. Unfortunately, near the coast of Norway, the two ships were separated by a storm. Once the ship went missing, search crews were sent out, though the harsh winter that came didn't help their efforts. His second-in-command found safety for his ship, and even though he was given commands to not go looking for his captain, he did nonetheless. With all search efforts leading to no results, the search was called off. After years had passed, a Russian fishing boat found an old damaged ship sailing towards them. When they boarded, they found multiple bodies frozen. When they explored further, they found Hugh's journal. It was found that to keep warm, he insulated his ship, which eventually led to carbon monoxide poisoning, killing everyone on board. The ship was then sailing freely while the bodies eventually froze over, until it was discovered by the fishermen. Hugh's journal was returned to England. On August 16, 1660, a 70-year-old man by the name of William Harrison left his home to walk to a nearby village called Charingworth. In the evening, when William didn't return home, his wife sent out their servant to look for him. The next morning, the servant and William were both missing. Worried, the wife sent her son out to look for his father. When on the way, he meets the servant. The servant informs the son that he was unable to find the dad, so they both head towards the village to ask around for the whereabouts of his dad. With no luck, they both return to their village. However, during their travel, they hear that some of William's belongings were found on the main road. Of the things found that belonged to William, his hat had been slashed by something sharp, and his shirt and neckband were covered in blood. When the police began to investigate, the servant said William had been murdered by his mother and brother, but he was innocent as he didn't partake in the murder. He also said that the body was dumped into a pond nearby. The pond was dredged, but a body wasn't found. During the trial, the servant's mother, the servant, and his brother all pleaded not guilty. Eventually, the jury found them guilty and they were sentenced to death. All three of them were hanged. However, even at the last moment, all three pleaded, saying they were innocent of all charges. On a side note, the mother was also thought to be a witch. 2 years later, William returned to England aboard a ship from Lisbon. He stated that he had been abducted, wounded, and was sold into slavery in Turkey. When his owner died, he hid in a ship and finally found his way back to England. This story is extremely controversial. The biggest opposition to this story is, why would they abduct a 70-year-old man to be a slave? In the olden days, when Pennsylvania was still heavily covered with forests, a family made a cabin and lived there. The locals knew them as the Cox family. The family included 2 children and a husband and wife. On April 24, 1856, Samuel, the father, heard his dog barking in the forest. He went to check up on his dog, and it's assumed that during this time, the 2 children also followed their father into the forest. The mother thought the father had taken the children with him, so no suspicion arose until he returned without the boys. Samuel quickly asked his neighbors for help, and by the evening, more than 100 people were out looking for them. The next day, over 1,000 people showed up to help with the search efforts. On the 3rd day, the locals began to suspect the mother and father of the boys, thinking they killed them for donations and sympathy. When the house and garden was searched, they were unable to find them. Interestingly, a local farmer named Jacob Dilbert saw the locations of the boys in a dream. The same dream occurred to him 2 more nights, so he told his brother-in-law. When the details of the dream was told, they both went to the location as was in the dream. There, they found the bodies of the children under a birch tree on May 8, 1856. The boys were aged 5 and 6 at the time of death. Thank you so much for watching. Please subscribe for more interesting cases.